In the previous lecture, we have split these columns, and this has caused, in our case, some leading white spaces. So sometimes we have, for example, a white space in the beginning or at the end of our text, or some other issues, and therefore we need to clean this text. We have a couple of tools available for this, and this is what we want to have a look at in this lecture. To do this, we want to first now select again this column. And now we have, if we go to transform, there we have the option text column. So this is just this area. And then here we have this option format. So here we have all of those different text operations. But this is usually not the way I apply this, because this is just a bit complicated to go to transform and then find exactly this in here. Therefore, usually the way I'm doing it is right-clicking on the column and then I go to transform. And since this is of the data type text, we have those text transformations. And in here we have now this option trim. We will have a look at the trim and then also afterwards what is actually the difference to this clean, because many people think that those are the same. So therefore first let's use the trim function. And the trim function, we could see a very little difference, is now removing all of the leading and trailing white spaces. So all white spaces in the beginning and the end of this text. If we go to the previous step, we can see this little difference. And also the same thing we can do now for the city. So we could also again apply this trim function. And then it is also fixed. But now, what is the difference to this clean function? And to understand this, we want to now load another file. So therefore we go back to home, we go to new source, and then again text and CSV. And there is also now this product hierarchy CSV. We select it, and we also want to see this now in the query editor. So we click on OK, and afterwards we see that we get some additional information about the products. Therefore, since we have a look at this sales, we can see this can be connected by using the product ID later on. So we get additional information about the product, the type of the product, the brand, and so on. But now, what do we need to do with this data to clean it first? The first step would be, of course, just use the first row as headers. So this is now much better. But now we see, especially in this product column, there are a lot of issues with some characters that are not supposed to be there. And these are so-called control characters. This can be a tab character or an end-of-line character. So all of these unwanted so-called control characters we can remove with one tool, and this is the clean tool. If we apply it, so if we select it, actually we can see this value, and you can see that this is no leading white spaces, but this is this special control character, in this case a tab. So this needs to be also removed. And to do this, we again just use a right-click transform, and then we go to clean in this case. And then you see all of those characters have been removed. So this is now much better. So now it is very clean, and with just one click, we have really cleaned this data as we would like to have it. Also, what we could use in this case, if we right click and then go to transform, we could use capitalize each word. So if we do this, we see that maybe this looks now a little bit better, or it's a bit easier to read if we want to display it like this. We can also use this text transformation like this. And now if we look at this column at the right side, we see that this should be also split, because here we have category and also subcategory. And the same thing we also want to do for the length and depth and width, to just split this into multiple columns. And I want you to practice this now to see how this works. So you can now apply the split column steps to just split those two columns into multiple columns, so that all of the information is in separate columns. You can pause the video and then we'll have a look at how this is done. So hope you have done this and it was not too difficult. We can do this, of course, by splitting the column with a delimiter. In this case, of course, we could go to transform, or we could just stay here using this split column feature. For me, it's usually just easier to right click on the column and then use split column in here. So you see that if we are doing a right click on the column, you also have all of the most commonly used tools available. So in my opinion, it can be just a bit more convenient. In this case, we can use split column again by delimiter, and I want to use a custom delimiter, and you see it was already recognized, and I'm just using 2 of them. And again, I can add white spaces in the beginning and in the end, and then I click on OK. Now this has been split. The same thing we can also do in here. So I will go to split column in here by delimiter. I use, in this case again, custom, white space, X, and then again white space. And this will be split into 3 columns. Of course, we should now also give them correct names. So for example, in here we have length. And then in the last one, of course, now the same thing also for category and subcategory, and also in here subcategory. This is of course important because later on when we load the data in the model, this is what is visible for the report creation. These will be displayed in here so that everyone knows what is behind those columns. In our case, we of course want to now also change the data type. So we can just select them. I go again to right click and say change data type, and this is a whole number. But now we remember it was actually in the name in here that these were now the numbers in centimeters. But maybe we would like to display it in inches. So therefore in the next lecture we need to have a look at using numerical operations.
Thanks for watching the video till the end. Please leave your thoughts below so we can discuss more about the topic. If you'd like to suggest a video that could help the community, feel free to message me on X or Instagram. We also share short videos on Instagram, so make sure to follow us there. Feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you, and might even create a video based on your suggestion. Thanks again for being part of our community. See you in the next video.